We're good. All right, everyone, you want to turn on your mics, hopefully we won't get interference tonight. Okay, in accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that a notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board, Town Hall, and mailing to the officially designated newspapers a list of the meeting dates annually, indicating that this meeting would take place at Town Hall at 7 p.m. on March 3rd, 2025.
Chandra Marjani,
Here.
Beth Zoll,
Here.
Neil Nino Roberts,
Here.
David Bradford,
Here.
Joseph Caulfield,
Here.
Jessica Black.
Here. Okay, we are going to start with approval of minutes. The first set of minutes is for January 13th, 2025. Do we have any changes, corrections, additions? Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The second one is from February 3rd, 2025. Do I have any additions, changes, corrections? Would someone like to make a motion?
Move to accept.
Do I have a second?
I can second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving along, we have a few resolutions. The first one is calendar 3993-24, that's Jonah Rathburn, 61 Slayton Drive, Short Hills. Do I have any changes or corrections? Would someone like to make a motion?
I just had a question
Okay.
about that they reviewed it as well, right? They received it, because I was reading it, they meaning the applicant has the opportunity to review it.
They have an opportunity, they don't, this board does not send the
doesn't
applicant
send the
in
applicant.
advance. But the applicant, as often is the case, has the right to come and they can make sure that the resolution was adopted and they know when it's going to be adopted if they have any questions.
Yeah, I was just rereading it. It was mostly what I remembered with how we, resolved the backyard. I was like, I guess that, I was just questioning myself, but I don't have any specific comments, so
No problem.
thanks.
In that case, would someone like to make a motion?
I can move to approve.
Second.
Oh, sorry, Eileen, who is eligible on this one?
Chandra, Gary, Regina are not here, Beth, Joe, and Jessica.
Okay, so then it holds,
Very good.
yeah,
Chandra Marjani?
Yeah.
Beth Zoll,
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield,
Yes.
Jessica Black.
yes. Okay, next up, we have calendar 3991-24, that's 368 Hartshorn LLC from 368 Hartshorn Drive. And who is eligible on this?
Eligible are Beth, Joseph, and Jessica.
Okay,
Because the others were either voted no or are not here.
okay. Do we have any changes and additions, anything?
So in favor, yeah.
It's only us.
360.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would someone like to?
Move
make a
to
motion?
accept.
Second.
Beth Zoll,
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield,
Yes.
Jessica Black.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, next we have calendar 4003-24, that's Gurpreet Singh, 34 Winding Way, Short Hills. Who's eligible on this?
Chandra, Jessica, and Joe.
Any additions, corrections?
Motion to approve 4003-24. Second.
Chandra Harjani,
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield,
Yes.
Jessica Black.
Yes. Okay. And last we have calendar 3950-23, that's Sharma, 29 Winding Way, Short Hills. Who's eligible?
Chandra, Beth, Joe, and Jessica.
Any changes?
I just noticed one thing on the bottom of the first page. There was like a number one, and I think it meant to be a footnote. It it was just all the same size. I don't know, Eileen, if that's how like it technically.
I know,
I
that-
don't-
I
just
know
wasn't-
exactly
do you know
what
what I
you're
mean?
talking
It
about.
wasn't like,
I noticed that too, and I was like,
I'll check
I
if
know,
that
it
was a
wasn't like super
typo,
strict.
yeah.
but we'll
yeah.
get that correct.
I mean, it's-
Yeah, it was like a little
That's
one
nitpicking.
that was
Okay.
okay.
Can't have that.
That said, no other.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I can move to approve.
Second.
Beth Zoll,
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield,
Yes.
Chandra Rajani,
Yes.
Jessica Black.
Yes. Okay. Next up, we have new business. The first is calendar 3964-23. That's Valdez Albert from 53 Sagamore Road. We have the applicant here.
Richard Skolnick on behalf of the applicant with my client, Mr. Valdez. This was an approval that was memorialized on March 18th of 2024. We're asking for some additional time on that 1-year requirement to get the building permit. The relief here was very minor to start off with, essentially bringing a floor up and going further and not extending the house, but just going up. If I could have the client sworn, I'll tell you why. He's looking for more time.
Do you swear from testimony about to give in this proceeding to be truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Members of the zoning board, good evening. My name is Jose Valdez, along with Laura Huober. I'm the proud owner of 53 Sagamore. I come here today to ask for more time to get the building permit and extend the variances. Reason being, we were blessed with the arrival of our son a couple of weeks after you granted the variances, and we severely underestimated the amount of time and energy it was going to take to raise our newborn. We thought that we
Damn
could.
it, those kids.
We thought that we
Those
could
kids.
balance, raising him and finishing the design of our house. Regrettably, we didn't progress as fast as we wanted to. I've been advised by my architect that we have about 3 months left on the interior design process. They're very busy. After which they asked us for additional 3 months to finish a schedule that would go into the construction agreement. After that, we would love to have a year to collect bids and vet the right contractor. We're not turning this over to sell it later on. This is our forever home. We want the time to make sure that we choose the right contractor. And once that is done, we're gonna have to move temporarily while the construction project is ongoing. So we need a couple more months after that. That's why we're asking for 18 months. If you could be so kind to grant that request.
Extension.
Right, so it's 18 months and not 12 months is what you're asking for?
Yes, 18 months, please. At a minimum, we would ask for a year, but 18 months would be really wonderful if you could.
That's what I did put in the letter. I don't know. On the agenda, it only said 12, but I did have 18 on that.
So it's up to the board. What the board typically does is, under a request like this, is to grant 1-year extensions. Under municipal land use law, for various reasons, you can ask for up to 3 1-year extensions, and typically the board grants between a 6-month and a 1-year extension. And then if the applicant needs more time, certainly there'll be a record that they did originally ask for 18 months, but at least keep it, you keep it on a shorter leash. But at the same time, the board does have the power, if they wish to grant an 18-month extension based on the testimony provided.
Does anyone have any questions of the applicant?
How many kids do you have?
We have one. Yeah, he's a 1-year-old. He's wonderful. He's such a blessing. Honestly, he's much more fun to deal with than deciding what's going to be the finishing on our bathroom at times. But yeah, hopefully we'll have another one at some point. But the focus is the house now. Candidly, that's what we're focusing on.
So has any work progressed on?
We have, yes. We've started the interior design. We're pretty much almost there, but our architect is just a little behind. He's swamped with work, so he's told us that he needs 3 more months to finish the interior design process. So honestly, if it were up to us, we want to start as soon as possible, candidly. But we're a little bit sort of tied to his schedule as well, fortunately.
We do have a little quirk here in the law because if it was site plan approval, we get 2 years just to start under the municipal land use law, but there's no site plan approval. So we have this 1-year requirement. So that sort of brings it in a little bit. The other point here is, I think these sorts of ordinances, your counselor will advise you, are to get somebody back in the board if there's been any changes in the neighborhood or any faction. So here, we have very minor relief, but nothing's going to change in this neighborhood. The adjacent houses aren't moving. You know, they're in their footprint, so nothing's really going to happen that's going to impact the relief that you granted a year ago. So we don't have those sorts of concerns, which I think is the reason to bring people back in if something changes in the neighborhood. But this is a sort of a static neighborhood. So we have those 2 factors playing in to this a little bit.
I have a question. So, now you're asking for 12 months for the bidding process. Now, what's the sort of, I guess from your perspective, how'd you come up with that 12-month bidding?
Well, as far as I can tell, there's a lot of competition right now. There's the housing market and the construction market is pretty busy. And, we just need time to meet with people, vet them, and get see their experience while also balancing our professional and personal obligations as well. So I think, 12 months is a reasonable amount of time. I think with that, we'll have the certainty and the confidence that we need to make sure that, we choose the right person for, again, our forever home. This is really, it's a project really meant to provide for our growing family, hopefully. So that's really what we're aiming for.
Any other questions from board
A
members?
question for Rob, is this 12 months or 18 months to completion, or is that?
No, it's not to completion, it's just to secure a permit to commence the construction,
I see,
right? It's not to get a certificate of occupancy or to take it off.
I see.
Any other questions from the board?
I think the first comment you made is like, it's sort of typical to create 1-year extensions, is sort of a
It's
1 year,
typical-
which could happen up to 3 times.
Sure, yes, it's typical for this board, certainly,
Right.
and for other boards that. And I think to the applicant's credit, I think that they've given, certainly justification for the extension. The question is really up to the board as to how to. Sure.
Are there any questions from the audience pertaining to this? I don't see any. What does everyone think?
I mean, we've seen 12 months in reality, so I don't know if 18 months would be something which is, everybody's comfortable with. I mean, we always have, as Rob just mentioned, we can extend it for another couple of years if that's the case. So, just keeping in trend with what we've done in the past. 12 might not be out of,
And then to jump over you, but I'd go with 12 months, and if you need another one, come back, well, let the record show you for 18, that's what council was saying as well. That would be where I would think.
Yeah, I think that seems reasonable. It seems like a reasonable amount of time. The original approval was also for 12 months. Was that that's what I
Right,
think you
yeah,
had been
yes.
testing.
There's an ordinance,
Ordinance.
ordinance or the resolution.
Yeah.
I think they go hand in
So
hand.
I think doubling that amount of time is.
and you have some months left for 1 year, so I guess it starts from the end of the first anniversary for another year, I guess. Is that how
It's,
it works?
it's 365 from the date of publication, which,
Right.
of the notice of decision. So that was probably about a week after the resolution.
Right. So the.
Of March 28th.
So the
So
the
March
applicant,
365 for March 28th.
so to Mr. Skolnick's point, the applicant actually also gets the benefit of the fact that we're gonna run the 1 year from the date of the adoption of the resolution. So they actually get 13
13
months for the price of 12.
So you could stretch that out a little bit.
Great.
No rush on the resolution.
Yes.
Make a motion to extend the time for 12 months on 53 Sagamore Road.
Do I have a second?
Second.
You want a roll call? Chandra Harjani,
Yes.
Beth Zoll,
Yes.
Neil Mino Roberts,
Yes.
David Bradford,
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield,
Yes,
Jessica Black.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
It's gonna be the one resolution that Mr. Skolnick is not following up with me about.
Okay, next up, we have calendar 4012-24. This matter was carried from January 13th. The applicant is Ashwin Mundra, and the location is 55 Locust Avenue. We're gonna have our counselor
So this,
advise us a little bit with this matter.
yeah, just in terms of eligibility, so this was an application that started on December 2nd of 2024, and it was carried at the end of that meeting to January 13th, 2025 for scheduling purposes. And then on the January 13th meeting, it was further carried to today's meeting. So this is an FAR variance. It's a form of a D variance. It requires 5 affirmative votes. So one of the things we need to determine, obviously, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 board members. But the issue is which board members listened or did not listen to the tape of the prior December 2nd, 2024 meeting. And then we have to ascertain who's still eligible to vote on the application. So you want to?
I received notification from Beth and from David that they have both watched the tape and certified to such. Nomino did not, so we have 5 eligible voters.
So we have Beth,
With Beth,
David,
Joe,
Joe, Jessica, and
Chandra.
Chandra. So Mr. Bale, I see you're here with the applicant. You're the new architect on board, so to speak, on this application.
Yes, should I be sworn in?
Hold on, before we do that, I just want. So we have 5 eligible voters. So that means for a FAR variance, to get approval of that variance, you need to go 5 for 5. You need to have 5 affirmative votes for approval. So if one of the 5 eligible members says no, then it's a denial. It's what's called a statutory denial. So even though you have 4 in favor and 1 against, that would be a denial because you need to go 5 for 5. So the question of the moment is whether you're comfortable proceeding with the application at this time, understanding the parameters of the vote.
Normally it's 5 out of 7.
Chandra has reminded me that normally with the full complement of the board, it's 5 affirmative votes out of 7 regular board members because a couple of board members are not eligible to vote on this application because it was a continuation of the prior hearing. You need to go 5 for 5.
I can discuss this. I don't need to be sworn in, right?
Not yet.
Okay. So the question is, of the 2 missing members, were they at the December meeting, or are they new members? And if they were present, they could be eligible to vote. So there's, of those 2 members, is one of them more eligible? Do we get 6 votes?
Well, it's all 3 were, I don't know if they were here, but Eileen, of the 3 that are
out
missing
of the
today.
3, 2 were here. 1 was not at the December meeting. And I don't know if he is up to.
But 2 of the
2 out of the
3,
3.
yeah.
Mhm.
2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
And if we were to adjourn, we could request that our newest member listen to the tapes, or today disavows his ability to listen to those tapes and make himself eligible for the April.
So what this board has done in the past is, under these circumstances, allow the applicant to continue with its application. You know, you have a quorum to consider the application and have testimony provided since you're here with regard to the application, and we would proceed with, public comments or questions, what have you, questions from the board. And then we would essentially adjourn until a future meeting. And at that time, typically the applicant would ask that the board have the absent members review both sets of transcripts in essence, or the videotape. The first hearing in December, and then tonight's meeting. There's no obligation for a board member to actually do that. Right? I don't know what their circumstances are, so just want you to be aware of that we could get to a future meeting, and then the board member says, well, I didn't have a chance to, I had things going on in my family. And then you're back where you are right
Right.
now.
And-
The benefit of adjourning until a future date is that you're not asking board members essentially to review two sets of tapes because they'll be there for that.
Sure.
So-
And we can weigh the board. I can see how the testimony's going. And at the end, request that adjournment at the end of tonight's presentation.
Yes, you can do that too. You can assess at the end whether you want to take the chance and ask for a vote.
Yeah.
Where you'd have to go 5 for 5, with the understanding though, that under the doctrines of res judicata and collateral estoppel, that if there's a vote and it's 4-1, 3-2, what have you, and it's not 5 for 5, it is a statutory denial. And for you to subsequently come back to the board, that would require you to quote unquote substantially change the plan, whatever that is, or you can of course appeal.
Of course.
So, you have a bunch of options that you can proceed with. You want to have a moment and speak to your client?
You kind of follow what he's gone through? Let's present it and see. Yeah. I think we should move forward. Let me reintroduce what benefits I brought to the project. I could read you guys as you read us, and we'll, if we get to that point, we'll request an adjournment if we feel like it's going to go bad. And we always have the ability to change it.
Okay.
All right.
Everyone good? Okay,
Thank you.
now let's get,
Do you swear from testimony about to give in tonight's proceeding to the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes. Yes.
State your name for the record.
State your name.
Ashwin Mundra.
And Thomas Bayo, architect for the applicant. Do you need qualifications from me?
Yes, please.
So I'm Thomas Bayo. I've been licensed to practice architecture in New Jersey. This is my 34th year, not till later this year, so 33 technically. I have designed 300 or 400 homes in town. I've been before this board over that 34 years, 100 times or so. I've testified on many boards across the state. I remain licensed in good standing with the State Board of Architects. I've not had any problems. Nothing has fallen down yet. So,
Qualifications have been accepted.
thank you. So, explain why I'm here.
Yeah, thank you for having me and good evening. We came here in December and there was a lot of questions. Obviously, I learned that my architect was not prepared. I was not prepped. And I decided that I need to change tracks, and hence I hired Tom to help me understand it better and also make sure that we are presenting something which is more legitimate and based on facts. So thank you.
Okay, well, the predominant thing I'm going to testify tonight to is how we've changed the application materially to try to bring it into something that this board could palatably approve. Mr. Simon, am I allowed to show the prior architect's plans? That was presented by him.
I think you certainly can, I mean, if it's part of the record, you certainly can present those plans just to provide the board with the background as to what the board was presented at the prior hearing,
Yes.
and then to show by comparison the changes between that plan and your plan.
I would like to do that. I think that would
I
be,
think that that's appropriate.
okay.
Just to remind the board, without taking away Mr. Bayo's thunder, that the last time we were here for this application, it was an FAR variance. 36% is permitted in the zone, 34.6% existing and 43% was proposed. Does that sound right, Mr. Bale?
34.65 is existing.
6.5.
Yes, not 36, 34.65, 3121 square feet in terms of the numerical number. The allowed is 3242, that's 36%.
Okay, hold on a second. So the testimony at the prior hearing, based on my notes, is different.
Okay,
So just so what was in the record was 34.6, I think it was 64% existing,
Oh,
or
okay.
3120 square feet. What is permitted is 36% or 3237 square feet.
Yep.
And what was proposed, at least based on the testimony from the architect, was 43% or 3863 square feet.
That is all correct.
Please proceed.
Okay, so the prior application had a deviation from the standard of 36%, which was almost 20%, 19% over, which I've been doing this a while. That's a significant number. There was some pushback, and I believe Mr. Mundra's expectation would be that the architect would better defend the plan that he was presenting, and found himself not able to properly explain perhaps what he could do to change it, or, so they adjourned. And he literally called me the next day and wanted to fire his architect, and I said, well, wait a minute. Are you in good standing? Is he paid in full? What happened? And having gotten satisfaction of all those things, I accepted taking on the project in probably late December. And I tried to materially change the application because it was a very large deviation on FAR. So the prior application, simply put, this was his plans, called for a big box addition on top of a first floor enclosed room. The application had 214 square feet of first floor expansion in the screen porch and 534 square feet of expansion on the second floor, which is what Mr. Mundra wanted. He wanted to have 2 bedrooms for his 2 daughters with their own closet and private baths because his daughters are fighting. And therefore, he's trying to give them enough space, even though, and have a guest room and an office for himself so that they're equal and that they no longer argue over the use of this one hall bathroom. The question is, what can I do to make this better? The first thing we did is I reviewed the opportunity of taking off this screen porch. It was not core to his initial wants. It did add 214 square feet. He understood that I needed to show something, and he's agreed to eliminate the first floor addition completely. So the second floor addition is now going to sit on top of columns like it did before, except it won't have the benefit of the right side having a screen porch under it. So my plan has an addition similar in size on top of columns that benefits from not having any first floor FAR, number one. Number two, my new application seeks to present instead of a straight back.
So Tom, you're referring to plans now, your plans.
Yes, I'll switch.
So just identify the plan sheet you're referring to. I don't recall that the sheets that we have are colored.
The color is only for presentation purposes. There's no material differences from the sheets I'm presenting to.
Okay, so just identify what sheet number you're referring to.
Sure, so now I'm going to refer to my architectural plans, which are in your packet dated 2/21/25. And I'm referring specifically to sheet A1. A1.
Can you confirm if the date is February 10th or February 21st?
Yeah.
February 10th. Let me just see.
I have the 10th, you just
do
mentioned the
too.
21st.
February 10th, yeah, you know what? My sheets are different dates. You can stay with February 10th.
Okay.
Well, hold on a second.
Because that's different.
Are the plans that you're referring to any different than the plans that the board has? So the first sheet, C1, is dated the 10th, A1 is the 10th, A2, they're all dated the 10th. Did you make any further modifications to these plans?
I did not.
Okay, so you just have a new date.
We did, the day we print these, believe it or not, the date updates.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Why don't we mark your plans as February 10th?
Sure, I'll enter my plans, individually sheets as
No,
exhibits.
no, 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 we're not going to use them as exhibits.
Okay.
But for purposes of the hearing, we're going to assume that every plan sheet that you're showing us is the one from February 10th, because you've just testified under oath that they haven't been changed at all.
Correct.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, so go ahead, to start. Yeah.
There's, that he's marked them up.
For now, we're gonna not mark them separately, but if it turns out that there's markings that materially change them in any way, shape, or form, we are gonna mark them.
Okay.
So,
Understood. So I want to illustrate the differences. So that's what I'm really focusing on. The differences are we don't have a first floor addition whatsoever. That's number one. Number two, we also don't have a straight back. So there's an articulation in the form by jogging it in. By jogging it in, I'm able to technically articulate the back elevation so it doesn't look like this large shed gable on the back of the home. And instead, I'm referring now to sheet A2, my elevation sheet, introduces a stepped assembly of two gables, one that's 2 feet out from the other. The square footages on the second floor are nearly identical between mine and the prior architects. The differences are that are articulated to form a little bit differently. This allows for the back elevation to be a composition of two gables. That's the second difference between my plans and the prior architect's plans. Very subtle, but the third difference is the interior layout. By me putting inside the plans the bathroom and closeting, as opposed to the other architects which had it on the perimeter, my elevations are able to have windows on both the sides and the rear. Again, facades that don't have windows tend to look more massive and a little bit more out of place than facades that have windows and some side articulation. And I'm referring back to sheet A2, showing the two side elevations with that placement of windows. Minor, perhaps trivial, but an important way that makes this thing look less boxy. My plans result in a FAR of 40.62, whereas the prior architect's was 43. My deviation is 12.8% above the 36%. The prior architect's was 19.4. That's a significant change in terms of the floor area ratio. Combined with the architectural embellishments and the elimination of the first floor, I believe this plan is a better plan.
Did you, is that the only thing that you changed, the floor area ratio from the prior architect? Like the lot coverage, is that the same as the prior architect and the building coverage? But you're
Yes.
seeking variances for all of those.
And there's another variance, Ms. Blatt. It's the combined side yard. So even though the addition is stepped in from the alignment of the current house, the way the combined side yards is interpreted is that you take the least amount of the left side yard and you apply it to the new bulk on the right side, and those two numbers together must equal 35% of the lot width, or 21 feet. In this case, our left side results in 14.22, and our right side results in 14.24. Those are 7 feet less than the 21 feet required for the combined side yard. So even though my addition, and I'm pointing back to the floor plan sheet A1, even though my addition does jog in from the existing house and produces, a betterment to neighboring houses because it's not a line, it did not change the prior variances in that respect. And these side yard setbacks stem from the existing home's second floor dormer. The current house has a dormer of that width. So by aligning with that dormer width, which is not the side of the house, it results in two nonconformities for side yards.
Sorry.
No, you
No, it's fine. I was just gonna ask, so it's just a little confusing with the new plans and the old ones. So you're now seeking variances for maximum building coverage
No, I'm not seeking building coverage variance.
and not lot coverage variance?
No,
So it's just combined side yard and FAR?
correct.
Okay,
Well, on
yeah,
on the zoning table, you don't identify a variance for combined side yard.
Right,
It's,
I left it,
Right?
yeah, looks like I
Okay.
left it as
No, don't do it.
There's no change. All right, so I left it as NC because the existing side yards are way less conforming than my new addition. But the new addition must still apply the 35% combined side yards from the least of the left side dimension to the new right side dimension, and from the existing right side dimension to the new left side proposed addition. Therefore, I show it as NC because the lesser of two evils are, we have existing nonconformities, but my addition still doesn't meet the required combined side yard conformity.
but it brings you closer to conformity than.
Oh,
existing.
the addition is more conforming, but still not 35% combined.
Okay, so the required combined is 21 feet,
That's right.
okay? And you're proposing 13.4?
I'm proposing 14.22 for the left side and 14.24 for the right side.
Okay, where's that on your, I
Yeah, I'm
don't see
not
that
see- I'm not
anywhere on your
seeing
plan.
that.
It's not illustrated on that survey cover sheet, and that number comes about by using the existing right side nonconformity in combination with my proposed new left side. So my left side is stepped in 3 point,
What is the proposed combined side yard?
all right, so there's two. For the left side addition, the proposed side yard setback is required to be 21 feet, and it is 14.22.
Okay, wait, just answer my question. The requirement that I'm asking about is combined side yard, combined.
Yes,
okay? Which is supposed to be 21 feet, or 35% of lot width, okay? What do you, with the addition, what are you proposing as combined side yard?
this is the difficulty of this question. It's applied twice. It's applied to the new proposed left side expansion, and it's equally and differently applied to the new right side setback. So it's applied twice. The addition on the left side, and I'm referring back to sheet A1 in the back, whereas this setback from this property line to my new addition should be 21 feet, it in fact is 14.22. And on the right side,
Okay, so your left side setback, stay with me. Your left side setback is 14.22 feet to the new
No,
addition.
my
It's not-
left side combined setback, as applies to where the wall is, requires the right side nonconformity applied to the new left side addition, and vice versa, the existing left side nonconformity to this new right side wall. So there's two combined, one for the left and one for the right. This is how,
Eileen, can you swear in?
I don't have this plan, so I'm looking at the old plan, the survey.
Eric, can you swear in? Eileen?
Yeah.
You swear from testimony about the, you truth, whole truth, and the truth?
Yes.
Are you able to explain what Mr. Bayo is trying to tell us?
Yes.
Do you want to see a copy of?
I don't have this plan.
I-
Can someone
I-
give
I don't know.
their copy
Here, I
to
can take
Eileen
this.
just to take a look at?
I just need to see the survey.
But it doesn't swoop this.
We don't have the plan.
no, the addition's not shown on it, but what is shown on the survey on the floor plan. And I'm pointing to the same sheet you have, just for her edification.
But your addition is only.
Yes, 3.75 inch from here, 3.79 inch.
So it's actually 6.7 over here and whatever.
Side yard, you should take the width, whatever percentage.
That's not the addition.
Combined.
So you changed the rear addition.
Oh, we're talking about, not the side yard setback, we're talking about the application of the combined. So I have to,
No, but I'm, because
Well, so for the application of combined side yard setback, you take one side plus the other side, right? And is that greater than 21 feet?
in no case are we greater than 21 feet.
Right,
You have 17.68.
Right, that's what, just tell me, what is the left side setback? What is it?
The left side setback,
You just said before 14.22 feet, is that accurate?
no, that's on the combined. I'll give you the left side setback.
Just want to know left side.
That's a simple
setback.
question. It is 6 point.
That doesn't happen at all.
The left side is 10.74.
Okay. So 10.74 feet is your left side setback. What is your right side setback?
The existing,
I want to know to,
You have
To the-
17.5. and
What is it?
17.68.
10.74 left side, what is it for the right side? What's your setback?
6.76.
6.76.
Is that the 17.5?
Okay, so that equals 17.5 feet. You with me, Mr. Babb?
I am, I do
Okay.
that differently. I'm actually.
Okay, so if the lot, if,
29.1.
what, I'm sorry,
29.1 and 29.4.
Are those the percentages?
We wind up with 29.1 and 29.4%. Because the old plan was different, so it was a different, you have a different combined side yard setback.
I mean, I have the left side being 10.74 in, and the right side being 10.81 in.
you just said
No, 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 no.
6.76.
No. Because your left side is 10 point what?
10.74,
And the existing is 6.76.
correct. So I have to use the right side's
Proposed
6.76.
left side and then the left.
Plus the
existing
10.
left with proposed.
Yes, I did a deduction
29.
from the 21.
0.1, I think 21.1 and 29.4. Correct?
That's just the new construction.
I get the left side I get the left side combined is 17.69, and I get the right side as
So you use the existing ones and then the existing other and proposed.
17.56.
6.78.
Divided by 60, that'll give you your percentage. 17.5.
No. If your combined side yard setback is required to be 21 feet, and what you're proposing is 17 and a half feet,
Yeah, I'm going to amend my prior testimony.
right?
Yeah, 17.69 on the left.
No, stop.
We're gonna use the small one.
The combined, your left side is 10.74 feet. Your right side is 6.76 feet, that's what you just stated,
Yes,
okay? You add the two up, 17.5 feet, with me?
yes,
So the minimum required, so that's your combined side yard setback, right? 17.5.
17.56.
17.56. What's required, the minimum required is 21 feet combined,
Yes,
with me? So you need a variance of 3.5 feet,
roughly.
roughly. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's the least of the two, but don't you apply it to both sides, Eileen?
Yes. But we can use the worst case.
You can use the worst case.
which is
Okay, so-
This one.
I'm testifying that the least of the two is the right side setback, which results in a combined side yard setback of 17.56, whereas 21 is required.
But we go by percentages, so let's make sure we use the
Well, that's,
percent.
wait.
When we do
Now we're going to extrapolate that into percentages. So if the 21 feet or the 35% is required, what is being proposed? What's the percentage? something less than 35%.
Yes, 29.266.
226.
Yes,
66.
266%.
Okay. Now, Ms. Glide asked the question,
And I'm sorry, can you just tell me, doing percentages again, what percentage you're proposing for the FAR?
Yes.
Like what percentage of?
Yes,
over
the FAR under our proposal is 40.62%, whereas 36 is the maximum allowed.
But what are you asking? Like what percentage over? are you asking?
12.8%.
Square footage, is that what you want?
Yes.
No, she's asking what
No,
percentage
what
of deviation.
percentage? Like if we were looking
Oh,
on
right,
attachment
percentage
B,
deviation,
the
right.
deviation is 12.8 you're saying the deviation is 12.8%
Correct.
for the FAR?
And the prior application that was before you was 19.4% deviation.
Okay, so, I understand that you're reducing things from the prior application, but I mean, it's still a massive FAR. I haven't heard, I've heard, the testimony of what you've done to reduce the, the previous architects, overages, but I still haven't heard any testimony to positive or negative criteria. I mean, really, right now, all we have is the letter to the zoning board saying that the applicants had to take over their daughter's bedrooms for work purposes, and so now they need to, build them new bedrooms. Like, can you give us
Sure, let
any
me add some,
testimony? I mean, these are
Yes.
enormous overages for,
Um,
for FAR especially.
well, they were more enormous, so.
Yeah, but I
they
mean,
were
that's
enormous.
not, it's,
The house will render itself from being a 3-bedroom second floor to effectively a 5-bedroom second floor because of the use of home office and guest visitors. They have in-laws who come in who use one.
I understand that, but I mean, you're an experienced architect, you know that that's personal circumstances that we don't take into account. So I'm
Right.
just saying, can you give us, positive and negative criteria? And I mean, right now, I don't think we have any testimony as to that. So testimony, as to personal hardship is not something that we can take into account.
Sure.
And, justifying it by saying, well, it used to be this much over, but look, we've reduced it, is nothing that we would take into account either. So where's,
Okay.
where's the stuff that we need?
One of the things I see from having done a lot of these homes.
It's also an oversized lot,
It is an oversized lot.
I mean, big
Yes.
time.
Yes.
So,
So a lot of the homes in this neighborhood, it's unusual to have a house with this large with 3 bedrooms on the second floor. 3 bedrooms on the second floor is vastly different from the current market needs in the neighborhoods. On Locust Avenue alone, most of the homes there are 4 and 5 bedroom second floors. To have bedrooms on the first floor, and it really breaks up the family. Keeping in the traditions of what I see in the neighborhood, a 5-bedroom second floor would not be a big deviation for the expectation of what a house like this could have. It is an oversized lot. The oversized lot, conversely, does support a larger home. The larger home still has a percentage over the 36% because trying to stay within the 36% doesn't give him enough room to have a bedroom and a bathroom and a closet for each of his daughters. So while the personal needs are personal and needs, to get to the standard of a 5-bedroom second floor, which is not inconsistent with what is happening in South Martin, I believe that this application could be approved, given that it is an oversized lot, and it would support it, especially in light of the setback improvements from the side yards and the architectural benefit of the back facade. It takes a facade and makes it, I think, a very palatable neighborhood intervention. When people look at it, they will say, I kind of like what he did and the way it turns out. It's not as bulky, and I believe those facts can materially guide your judgment.
do you have any other questions from board members?
It was, as it stands now, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, correct?
No.
It's a
Stage
4,
floor.
there's a bedroom on the first floor.
Oh, there is one, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
It's, I was in the second home deal plan.
Yeah, I was referring to the second floor. The second floor is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath standard. Given his family circumstances and how they have changed work from home, and given the oversized lot, and given the fact that many homes here are 4 and 5 bedrooms on the second floor, which is how families are living, I believe that
You've stated that in this neighborhood, there are houses with 4 and 5 bedrooms on the second floor.
Yes,
What are you basing that?
I'd have to bring that data, and I would be willing to do that. I could do a complete survey up and down, behind them, and I'll show that the vast majority of the homes are in fact 4 and 5 bedroom, second floor standards. The house next door to him on the left is a brand new construction,
2 houses, or both of them.
both of them. So they've been knocked down. He's not knocking his down, he's adding to it.
What's happening to the bedroom on the first floor?
What do you do with the bedroom on the first one?
Bedroom?
The first floor, it's right now used like a pantry right now for us, for the kitchen. It's like small.
The 12 by 10 room.
Yes,
By the
it
garage.
is, yeah.
I will say one thing, I drove by and I appreciate that this application is looking to keep the facade, keep the, the character of, the South Mountain neighborhood. It does match, I think, number 61 or a few houses down. And I did also notice the next door, the kind of the big white massing new construction style that we have seen, which may have more bedrooms on the second floor. I'm not entirely sure, whereas I understand the pitching of the roof may limit the square footage on those upper floors. So
All 3 of them, we have 3, I know those neighbors very well. All second floor have more than 3 bedrooms, each one of them, and they are massive bedrooms.
thank you.
Actually, how big are those lots? Like, what are the dimensions of the lots?
I think they are similar lots, like they are similar lots.
Do you know?
I don't know, I
Okay.
don't
No,
know.
we'd have to
But
bring that-
we can bring in
yeah.
the data, but
I can
all
bring that
there,
data.
there are 3 houses which are massive second
That,
floors.
that might be, but again, with.
And they're similar, they're,
numbers here.
yeah, I don't know exactly the size of them.
So in terms of square footage, how much over are you? From 36 to 40% something, 4% would be roughly around,
We're proposing a house of 3659 square feet, whereas it is currently 3121 square feet. So sounds like 500 and
500 something.
38
But we
square
are,
feet.
but by
But
over,
from
we are only,
36%,
from 36%,
Oh,
they're
from
not over,
36%.
it should be
Overreach.
less, because we reduced everywhere
Yeah,
last
one
time.
second.
It's just
Overreach
about 400.
is 32.
Yeah, 400 something, because we reduced the downstairs, and we also reduced the current, whatever the architect was telling
Second
us.
floor, yeah. Yeah, 417 square feet over what is allowed.
and I'm sure I appreciate all the effort you've done to bring it down, but I'm sure you heard the testimony from last time.
I did.
Where the concern was that overage was very high. Did you even, consider of if we were to stay within 36% of what is actually allowed? Was that a starting point for you? to
Yes, it
consider,
was.
and
It did.
How did that go from,
100%. 400 square feet is basically a bedroom with a bathroom. He would have the situation of adding 1 bedroom. He couldn't add the 2 equal bedrooms for his daughters. He'd have to add 1 bedroom. That could be conforming under the 36%. It would bring the second floor from 3 bedrooms to 4 bedrooms. We did consider that.
So the house will have 5 bedrooms in that case, one
Yes.
underground,
In that case, would have 5 bedrooms as opposed to our case, which technically has 6.
6 bedrooms.
3, 4, yeah, and 2.
So that takes away the 4% extra, that brings you down to 36% basically?
If we were to only add 1 bedroom, yes, it would bring us down to 36%.
But also we'll have to reduce, and completely, we have to move out of the house. In this addition, we don't have to do that.
No, I think in both cases, smaller or size like we have it, it's outside the realm of the home. We can construct most of that. You can live there during that time. In both cases. The issue is one of that. Do we add 2 bedrooms and come before this board, show that we've made some betterments and introduce better positive and negative criteria? I explained some of the proofs that I'll come back with. The positives being, I think the lot could support it, given its oversized nature, given the setback benefits, given the architectural nature of it, given the placement, it's behind the house, not in front. It keeps in the charm and character of the South Mountain, better than a knockdown. And I'll show you lot sizes. So I owe that. And that's a criteria that I can certainly meet.
Any other questions from the board?
I'd like to see the comparison too, because this seems, you're testifying that this is standard in that area, or not uncommon at least.
I'm saying
And
that,
this just feels like this feels like a very big house for that area.
so I'm saying that the improvements that we see as architects are all going in this direction, where a lot of these 3-bedroom homes built in the 40s really need more than 3 bedrooms on one level because of expanding families, the nature of work at home, the nature of how people live today with vertical living and more people living in the house, for those reasons.
Just to clarify one thing, you said that if the 2 bedrooms were made one, you would knock off 400 square feet?
Yeah, but I would lose 1 bedroom. I mean, we have a political problem with his two daughters.
Personal
Sure.
circumstance.
So is that 1 bedroom 400 square feet? Is that what you're saying? Or?
The combination of bedroom, bathroom, wall thickness, room itself could be, 400 square feet.
But you're saying if you took that away, there would be no FAR?
Yeah, there would be no FAR variance. We'd probably still be here for the combined side yard.
Right.
Maybe I make it narrower so I can avoid that because it's so close. I mean, we're only 4 feet away, so it's possible to avoid that. But it doesn't meet his primary goal.
So, this is next to, it looks like some form of, is this, like garden apartments or something like that, adjacent to Milburn Avenue?
There's one side is the apartment complex and the other side is the new constructed house.
He's the first residence along Milburn Avenue behind the apartments. There's almost every street.
That's what I'm asking. So the apartments, what are they, garden apartments?
I don't know that.
Yes, they're 2-story and 3-story garden apartments. Depends on what side you're looking from. And there's a large parking lot next, really, his neighbor is quite a bit, it's a big parking lot.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any questions from the audience? Anyone here for this application, any questions? Any comments from the audience? Okay, I'd like to hear some comments from the board, but I'm just gonna start by saying, I mean, I would not be comfortable approving this application as it stands. I don't think you've met any of the criteria. And I don't even know if you came back to me somehow proving that there are other houses, in the neighborhood that have 5 bedrooms on the second floor. We didn't approve it. So, they weren't coming before us where we approved those. So they were obviously built in conformance. But I think as it stands right now, asking for 12.8%, FAR is outrageous. I'm not as bothered by the combined side yard, but the FAR I think is completely troubling. And I don't think that you've given any justification for it besides personal circumstances and personal hardship. So I don't know what my fellow board members think.
I would agree with all that. That's what I think. Also, you mentioned something about thinking that the lot is big enough that you can support all this, but if we're working with percentages, so you're
Yes.
getting the benefit of that bigger percentage area based on the size of the big lot. I mean, your lot size is 6,000 square feet, you're at 9,000 square feet.
Yes.
You have a bigger lot for what the zone's require.
Yes, it's counterintuitive to say it's a big lot, it could support a big addition. But we're making an argument to show how we can possibly get there with this addition. It's doing a 1-bedroom addition, I doubt is serving the interest of why he initially did this. And one of the reasons he probably changed architects was somebody who could at least have this dialogue and go back and forth.
And where we were last time, much.
Yeah, if the proofs
More detailed.
don't, I'll have to consider the testimony from the feedback, and I appreciate your feedback, Ms. Blatt, as well as the rest of the board members. We'll do the best we can. I can only try to do what I can try to do. And if I'm given an opportunity to adjourn this, that's the opportunity I'd like to come back and address. Simply that. If I can bring the proofs, and if I can't do it, then that's the consequences.
Anyone else want to give?
I'm much less disturbed about the side yard than I am not the other, looking at the property, the way they're built and even the ones next door and that have very, very tight side yards. And I've stood in that parking lot of the apartment building and looked over the fence and into there and, I get all that. I don't like the FAR issue. I don't know.
Understood.
So it sounds like that you probably want to carry the application at this point.
I do.
I just have a question, like what,
Keep it brief.
Eileen, do we have another date or hard to say?
All right. I don't know how much longer this would take. I didn't think it was.
Probably not that long.
I would say under 30 minutes. If I can't make an argument in 10 minutes, I know where these things go.
Okay, so would you be prepared, would you be able to get something together and be prepared to go forward on the 17th, or should I put you out till April 7th?
Probably April. The 17th, that I wouldn't have any time.
All right, so we could do April 7th or April 21st.
We'll take April 7th, it's available. And I would also request, just to get better voting circumstances, that the board members who are able to be here, I ask if you can listen to the tapes and perhaps provide a role in the.
Regina, they'll both, Gary will, Regina, they're
Yeah.
very,
Gotcha.
they're probably watching the meeting right now.
Great. All right, that's all I needed to hear. Thank you.
Eileen, are we gonna still be
Sounds like a fun
here?
night off.
in
We are
April?
moving April 18th. I did ask if, we're still gonna be here on April 7th. I was told that we probably would be able to have the meeting here on April 21st. We're gonna have to adopt a new calendar because we can't meet the first and third Mondays anymore.
Wait, what?
We have to change our dates. We have to do a whole new.
So for now, we are able to carry applications to April 7th and April 20, or April 21st for this room location. Okay. Yes,
I have
you had
a
a
question.
question,
So-
sorry.
so that I am better understanding it and I can discuss with Tom, I just want to get the feedback from you guys so we went from obviously 43 to 40.6, so that we do the right thing and come back to you. What do you think is not a big number?
Okay.
Like that's so that we are going down is 40, is it, I just don't know that, so I would want to, so that we can start making smaller.
Right, so it's certainly a understandable question that you may have for the board. Unfortunately, planning boards and boards of adjustment, of which this is one, cannot give what are called advisory opinions to applicants. Like, if we did this, will you approve it, or are we in better shape? Like, it's really not appropriate for the board, even though it's not a bad question at all. It's understandable that you're asking the question, to give you an opinion as to, what will pass muster or what will not pass muster. I think that to your architect's credit, you've garnered a whole bunch of comments from the board members, so you are much better educated than you were when you walked in tonight to understand a little bit about what the board's concerns are. And I think you got to take that into consideration and speak to Tom and decide how you want to proceed. That's my advice to the board.
Thank you.
I got it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so this matter's been carried till April 7th, 2025, at 7 o'clock in this meeting room. No further notice will be provided by the applicant.
Okay, next up, we have calendar 4021-24, that's 35A Spring Street. The applicant is Hao Wang.
Richard Skolnick, on behalf of the applicant. think those board members are watching at home because they knew I had 2 applications on tonight. That's pretty much the reason.
So again, in terms of this application, I'm gonna say the same thing I said in the last one. In terms of, this is not a form of a D variance, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it's just a bulk variance, so it just requires a majority vote. And Eileen, who's eligible, because this was carried from February 3rd, 2025?
Everyone that's here tonight is eligible.
Okay, great.
Chairwoman, thank you. As I mentioned off the record before, the engineer, Mr. Roth, couldn't make it, but there's not too much to go. There were some concerns expressed last month asking for some more information. We submitted a picture of the adjacent existing garage. We submitted some photo simulations. Hal, can we have him sworn? He was not sworn, I don't think. Yeah.
You swear from testimony you're about to give tonight the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? Your name for the record. Thank you.
And Hal, you're the owner along with your wife,
Yes,
and you took the photo of the existing shed at your neighbor's house,
actually, we took a picture together with my neighbor.
okay? And you had some simulations prepared that I submitted to the board.
Mhm.
And you measured the height of your neighbor's shed,
Yes, I did,
and what was the height?
8 feet.
Okay, you're willing to not exceed that height
Yes, I did.
also?
I know.
Rich, hold on. Hold on. So, Mr. Wang, you're referring to some photos that were submitted by Mr. Skolnick's office under cover of February 19th, 2025 letter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first photo is the photo that is up on the left-hand side there. And it's written there, existing adjacent parcel, right? You took this photo? Take this, right?
Yes.
Rich, can you have Mr. Wang identify where this is located in relation to the property?
So this shed actually locates where the shaded area is, 35B.
So this is the 35B shed,
Yes,
which is the neighbor's.
yes, my adjacent neighborhood.
Okay, go ahead. That's important. So
And you measured the height of that shed,
Yes, I did.
and what was your conclusion as to the height?
It's not 15 feet and it's 8.
Okay, and you're willing to stay at the same height? That was one of the open issues.
Yes,
So you could stay at the same height, and you hired somebody to do a little rendering of your proposed shed.
Mhm.
Okay, and I submitted that, and this is part of the package that the board has.
Can I just ask a question about the rendering? For the rendering, we're just paying attention to the rendering of the shed itself, right? Because it looks like it's its own property surrounded by.
Correct.
Yes,
and
yes.
that's not really the way that it looks.
It was a Disney
because
background,
yeah,
so to
there's
speak.
another shed right next to it, and it's all the same property, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Then, I'm not testifying, but just to point out, this is the plan that's in your package that Mr. Ross submitted. We added some landscaping, and the proposal is for 200 square feet of new impervious, but we added a note that said the pavement can be chopped up 100 square feet of impervious, a 4-foot by 25-foot section of the existing driveway, because we're over on impervious. The proposal was 200. Thought that was modest, but the board expressed some concerns. So we went back and we said, look, we can sort of carve out some of the driveway so that the proposal is even more modest now, of over 100 square feet.
So is the proposal 100 square feet of new impervious or 200?
It's 100 net.
100 net.
Question.
are the dimensions of the ones, the pictures here also 200? I think they were more than 200, right?
This one was measured 300 square feet.
Okay, so
So the
it's,
neighbor's bigger.
so the proposed shed is going to be much smaller in size.
Like two-thirds of this.
It will be 200
199.
with 8 feet height.
Yes, 8 in the front and 7 in the back. So it's a sloped shed.
For a total of 200 square feet,
Mhm.
regardless of these pictures.
200, but we're giving back
100.
100
Correct.
to address the board's concern. And we've confirmed the height. When we were here last month, we didn't have the height dimensions. That was his intent, but he didn't do that, so we can stay within the same height. And then Ms. Truitt had a concern, I think some other members, about distances to the neighboring properties. I think the concern was that there could be a 15-foot in height shed that would be a detriment, but he's clarified it's not going that high. But you can see from this sheet, you got quite a bit of distance. I measure it in the 70s. At 1 inch is 40 feet. So this is the neighbor's property. This is where the shed would go. So you got a pretty big distance. And you can also see that these sorts of sheds, I thought they were old horse barns. They're not uncommon in the rear yards of the other properties. But
Well, are they sheds or were they old, maybe the garage for the
garage, I think it
single-family
goes,
house that was there?
it's
You know, prior to it becoming a two-family house, maybe? Was that like?
on
the
this,
garage?
on this
Yeah.
property. Do you know if you had it as a car garage? Your
'Cause I mean,
neighbor?
it's huge. You're calling it a shed, but I mean, it's enormous. Like, you know, so,
300 square,
yeah, I mean,
that's just the nomenclature, whatever, it
yeah.
was just the word I picked. Garage.
But now you're asking for another one on the same piece of property,
It's not the same.
almost the same.
He owns it in fee. He owns his side in,
But it's all the same
in fee.
property, right?
It's an
That's the
interesting
problem,
question.
is where-
Isn't it condos or something like that?
He took it in fee. That's what I thought at the beginning. There's a condo to take care of it all, but he has a deed just for
For his unit.
35B.
His units.
Now, I think it has a meets and bounds. I'm not sure. It shouldn't make a difference from a land use perspective, so.
Well, I think for purposes of assisting the applicant, I think that what we need to consider is that the left side, where he's proposing to do this project, is gonna be considered legally as what's called a limited common element. What that means is that as opposed to the other two-family residents being able to utilize the left side, they can't. That is for the exclusive benefit, that's why it's called the limited common element in the law, for the owner and the renters of in essence, that side of the property. Does that sound reasonable, Mr. Skolnick?
I think that's accurate.
Okay.
Can we swear in the zoning officer?
Swear from testimony you give in this proceeding the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Eileen, I know that not everything counts as an accessory structure. Could the applicant put anything in their backyard, like any size shed that wouldn't, you know what I mean, that wouldn't trigger any variances? And if so, what size would it be?
Really, because I tried doing it, I did it as, this is one lot.
Yeah,
So
it is.
basically, that large whatever that's on the adjacent, on your,
Side.
kind of took up everything that could be done back there. Because the house pretty much, and between the house and the driveway, you're really at your maximums already.
But is there a size, like, okay, well, if they were putting up like a 4 foot by 4, you know what I mean? Like something where it's, you know, where there's literally nothing that you could do. Where it wouldn't even count as an
Well,
accessory structure.
The
I know, I
numbers
understand the coverage
of
is
building coverage and
maxed
lot
out.
coverage are over.
Yeah, no,
We're only-
I understand that, but I feel like in the past, you know, not everything, if it's a certain size, it doesn't necessarily count towards coverage.
No, it,
Okay.
it always counts towards coverage, just when it comes time for stormwater management, anything under 200 square feet, they will not. So if it's 199 square feet, there's no stormwater management required. But from a zoning perspective, regardless of the size, you know, there's really no,
There's no
I mean, obviously,
differentiation.
if someone came to me and say, hey, I'm putting a, you know, a little pad for my garbage can, it's 2 by 2, I'm not gonna, you know, you kind of have to.
What are you proposing, I forgot if you mentioned it last time, to put in this shed? What are you using it for?
Storage for the toys, outdoor equipment.
Storage for toys and outdoor equipment?
Like lawn movers and like snow removal equipment, all that.
There's no garage here. That's-
Yeah, there's no outdoor storage space for the A part of that building.
Does it have utilities?
I don't plan to put utility on it.
No-
It will
no
just be a
electric?
storage. Yeah.
I mean, it's just looking from the rendering, it's a pretty opulent shed with windows and,
It's my neighbor's request. He wanted my shed to be inconsistent with his.
oh,
So that didn't like damage the value of his property. And obviously, it cost more for me to construct it. But I would rather get his approval.
oh, you need him to do a condominium.
I've already
you need
got
to
his
approve
approval.
that, okay. Actually, your neighbor's shed, which is, a picture was attached to that, do they use that for living space?
No,
No,
it's
that's what they
storage.
use that for, storage?
Storage, yeah.
It looks like that there's a couple of lights.
I think it's like the solar lights.
There's solar lights?
Yeah.
Do you intend to have solar lights on yours? You don't show them in the rendering.
No,
No? Okay.
I mean, we just put a post on the ground just for decoration purpose.
Thank you.
This is Coleman, I have a couple, if this is a condominium and this is a limited common area, usually is the owner responsible for the maintenance of the exterior property here? Because usually limited common area, the association has responsibility for the maintenance of the limited common area.
I don't know. There is a condo, because I originally filed having them as agent for the condo. Then there was some questions and we went back and they took a deed. They have their own deed to Unit B here. I don't know who's responsible. I think
So
it's your
the-
intent that you're gonna be
So
responsible
the
for the maintenance.
practice, the practice is for the ceilings and outdoor equipment, outside equipment, like fixings and all that, we share. I own 45% and he owns 55%. We do that, but everything inside, in the walls, we cover our own.
Right, so if your driveway needs to be repaired, replaced, whatever,
That's gonna be separated.
you pay for that yourself.
Yeah, because
It's
that's
not-
my own driveway and he has his
Your
own.
own, the driveway on the left side of the house, which is yours, you're responsible for the
That's
maintenance.
not written in the
In the condo deed.
in the condo deed, but I think that will be the practice.
So is to that point, so is the representation in terms of maintenance of this shed and the surrounding area, that's gonna be borne by you or the association?
Me.
So conversely, when he has to do something to his shed, he doesn't call you up and say, I need a new roof on my shed.
He will let me
I need
know.
your 40,
and,
but he doesn't say, I need your 45 cents on the dollar to
No.
put the new roof on.
No, that's I don't think that's how we kind of like have a. I don't know, it's agreement, but we understand the situation and that's how it works.
You have like a meeting of the mind before you do one.
Yeah,
So there were,
And you're representing, you're also representing this fence is 6 feet tall, right?
the existing
The
fence
existing fence.
in the back.
That is in the back and also divides you from
You could see it in the picture here,
Yeah.
actually.
I know, I stood there and it came up to my nose, so that's about 6 feet. But you're,
So I think that was Ms. Truitt's concern, how much would really be sticking out, so we're.
and that's why the 8-foot representation to me is important. And then 7 feet in the back, so you're hardly gonna see it from over the fence from the other side.
Exactly, and we're,
I think we have a rendering of the view from the back.
well, I don't know.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that
That fence height was that, we weren't sure.
Yeah,
Chairwoman.
the rendering actually shows it higher than that, but if it's only 7 feet in the back, it's not gonna be much over the fence.
And the issue is really the lot coverage, building coverage,
Right.
and we can take out 100. So you're talking about a very modest. If the setbacks are okay, we don't violate anything, and now confirm that height of accessory structure. So these setbacks are all okay. You can have an accessory structure back there. We're talking about 100 square feet of new impervious. We've got some landscaping and investment, and if you allow me a little leeway, the purpose of the MLUL is to have an appropriate population density, a reasonable place. We appreciate it's a tight area, but there's no garage here, so some storage is needed. And I think somebody asked last time, can you just move it into the house? But it doesn't really work like that with the house.
Well, if you're mowing the lawn yourself,
Yeah,
you're not moving the lawn.
right, all right.
I-
Lawn
Right now, I
equipment.
don't even want to invest in that kind of equipment because I don't have a place for them.
So,
Well, who does your lawn, oh, you hire a service,
Yeah, it's quite expensive.
I know.
my hourly rate was a little hefty for that.
I just
I'm
mentioned
sure
Salt
I'm
Lake.
overqualified.
I had a business growing up in Parsippany.
And that percent. Just for the record, what's the maximum lot coverage permitted in this area?
Lot coverage?
45,
Maximum lot pervious.
45, and we're going up, 1.2, we're going up 100 square feet in numbers.
Well, yeah, just stay with the percentages though. So
Oh.
45, and presently it's at 58.8. If I'm reading this correctly.
Correct, yes, on
Going
the
to
chart,
60.
we're looking at the chart.
So we're going 15% over the max.
Yes, but that's not the new delta, obviously.
What is it about
Yeah.
that?
Well, we're going, existing is 58.8,
Right.
going to 60.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the overall.
That is correct.
So here's a question. Now, you are already way over on lot coverage and building coverage, right? To make this net increase of 100 go away, and did you consider whether, because this 200 square feet that you're making is essentially 14 by 14. That gives it 196.
12.5 times 1600 dimensions, but.
And just a question here, if you went down to 10 by 10, which is 100, and I'm, just a question, so that would take away the request for the extra. So because, the concern that you're hearing is that you're already way over, and this was expressed even last time, from where we are at 45 allowed, 58 going further up to 60. Was there any consideration given? Just a question.
Look, you could always make it smaller. You can make the shed smaller, but
Yeah, it'll be less useful. Like thinking about lawnmower, it's quite big. That alone will take half of that 10 by 10 shed. Meaning, it. I don't know. How about we give away, make that a little long? What is that? The 4 by 25.
you want to try to go another foot there
Yeah. How does that sound?
to try to, to bring out, he's saying, to lower this, we'll go to 5 feet to get to 125. So it's a 75. The net, we appreciate the numbers, but the net it's 100 square feet, 10 by 10 of the new impervious coverage. That's the goal of the regulation, is to control impervious. And as it is today, we're at 100 square feet. I would submit that's a pretty minor number. to give a person who has a very significant investment into the community, something that's livable and usable and reasonable. This is not, I would suggest, a huge ask to work in the Millburn area and on a smaller lot size to give it a decent balance when he's come forward with only 100 square feet. It's more, I appreciate the number gets higher, but it's marginal what we're proposing here. Only 100 square feet of new impervious coverage with some new landscaping to give a community member a decent sized shed.
Rob, can I ask you a question? Because I'm still having, and I don't know if anyone else is having trouble with this, that this at the end of the day is one property that, you know, someone put, you know, the builder or someone put a big fence right in the middle of it to give the illusion of it being two separate properties, but I still not quite sure how we're supposed to, you know, interpret it, because when I'm looking at this, I'm envisioning that big fence divider not being there and having two structures. I'm sorry, I don't consider, you know, a 12 and a half by 16 foot structure as a shed. You know, and the other one is even bigger on one property that feels very overbuilt. So I need to know how we're supposed to
Sure. So
consider this.
this property, this property is in the R7 zone. In the R7 zone, two families are permitted, right, with certain bulk criteria. So it's not like this is a circumstance where this is a pre-existing non-conforming use or structure, and now they're trying to sort of, push the envelope and expand or intensify the use. The actual use, the two-family use is permitted. So if you start with the premise that the two-family use is permitted, then, like I said earlier, when you have limited common elements, each family unit, right, has their stuff, whatever it is, starting with the house, driveway, backyard area. Sometimes, to your point, Jessica, you have circumstances where the two-family essentially shares the backyard and the backyard area. The way this was constructed, it was constructed that each unit has their own essential backyard area, as if it's sort of split into two. In this case, they have the fence. You are correct. There's no requirement for the fence. The fence could come down tomorrow. But I still think, and I was just checking in terms of the bulk requirements, in terms of side yards and setbacks, that I still think that it is functioning as sort of these two separate lots, even though it's legally one lot, with two kind of limited common element areas. And I think that that has to be considered by the board, sort of like, what's the reality of the situation on the ground? Like, we can just look at the numbers and say, hey, you're at 60%, this doesn't look right. And that may be the ultimate decision of the board, but I think you also have to consider sort of, the way this lot functions, and maybe the way other lots in the area function, to make that decision. These two families are really difficult, because it's not like that the zoning ordinance necessarily contemplates that you're gonna have a condo and you're gonna have limited common elements and general common elements. It doesn't do that. And it's actually a real flaw in municipal land use law generally to sort of ignore that when coming up with zoning. So, it puts the applicant in essence in a bit of a tough spot in these circumstances. Not to say I don't have a dog in the fight as to whether you're going to approve or deny the variance, but you should look at what you're dealing with. I don't know if that helps.
No, I
That's
think
very
that's
helpful.
helpful. I think you're right. I can appreciate Chair's, distinction of like, we're looking at one lot and now we're talking about two things in it. But in other ways, we're looking at a lot divided with the fence, with two separate owners. And two separate desires to be able to use their property and to maintain it. I appreciate the give back of the 100 impervious. I want to acknowledge that you heard us and took a step towards it. I don't know if all the board members feel it's far enough or they're still troubled with it. I think it would be nice to be able to afford you the opportunity to have the shed that you propose.
Exactly. Comments.
Sorry.
Are there any other questions from the board? Okay, I just want to open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the public who has any questions on this application? Okay. So I'm going to close public portion and now we can move on with comments.
I think, as I said, that the lot coverage and the building coverage being way over does trouble me, and taking it further more doesn't seem to be the right thing. But based on what Rob just mentioned, keeping that in mind, that these are two separate lots, two separate owners, the opportunity to afford creating a shed that you want to mirror what you have from your neighbor and smaller size, and giving up 100 square feet, and with the net increase of 100. I know you proposed something lower, but again, I just want to hear everyone's view. I'd love to, be able to give you the opportunity to what a reasonable number is, and that can, we can come to a collective number. But that's where my view is.
I'll go the other side. We're way over on this, and anything that you add to it is just gonna create tremendous overage. As I look at the aerial photo of this place, which is I think it might be I requested from the engineer, the area is so much impervious coverage between parking lots, driveways, sheds, big sheds in some cases. We're just adding one more structure, impervious structure, and we have flood issues down the street, no doubt about that. So I'm probably that side of the spectrum that's against it.
I agree. I'm just troubled by the application still, even with taking out that area of driveway. I feel bad because I think that, with our, with the way that these two family houses work, I think that this is a problem actually with the ordinance, that you could have your next door neighbor taking up all this space with an enormous, again, I don't even want to call it shed, but it's like a mini house, and then that leaves you no ability to put in anything, because it's just so overbuilt already. But I'm troubled by it. So
You want to make it a little smaller? You got at least two board members who are expressing some concerns. Can you go, we're at 200, can you go 150?
Yeah.
To try to make it, then we're talking about 50 square feet of new impervious here.
We're closed back for just more discussion. I mean, for me, I'm still against it, so if that meant anything.
No, I don't like the idea that the neighbor has more footprint in the building than he has. He's just in the building itself. Then he's got all the footprint in the accessory building. Equity tells me that we should let him have something. 10 by 15 is 150. I don't like going over the numbers, but this feels like a case to me where the equity would fall with Mr. Ryan.
Thank you. So can I ask a question just on the math part? So 50 square feet over would be how much percent? From 58 it would take to
50 square feet over an existing 7,991.
So the 58 point whatever percent goes up to
Less than,
58.8.
it's like a 0.5% we're going up.
50.
5 feet on 800, yeah, 0.6 or 0.7%.
Okay, got A's in law school, but I don't know how I'm gonna do on the math here. We're going
50 on 8,000.
We're going 50 on 7991. 50 divided by.
Less than 1%.
It's
Equals
0.6.
6.2%.
6.62.
Yeah,
0.62.
it's
50 point.
to have something that is more functional in downtown Millburn, I would say. In this zone, the more intense zone.
I've got a comment here, but just wondering, how feasible is it to give back more pavement? So we go 4x25 now,
It's, that's where the cars park. So right now I have one car. Girl is on the way. So soon I will be needing two cars.
Do you back out of the driveway or do you turn around and then?
Yeah, that's where all the
Are you
backup
able to
and
turn around
turn
and come out
happens in the
first?
back.
Are you able to turn around right now and come out here
Yes,
first?
yes. With one car there.
Will you still be able to turn around with, even if you take away that 100 square feet?
I think, so, to be honest, my thinking is the car can probably pull, like the wheel can drive far a little bit, so that leaves me some space to back. So,
We're talking about 50 square feet of new impervious here.
You need to look
Yeah.
at
50 square feet to have him have a more usable and livable home. That's a benefit to zoning, to have a reasonably sized unit.
So just for the record, the proposal for the applicant that the board is to consider is a shed of a size not to exceed 150 square feet.
Yes, with a condition that a 4 by 20 foot section of pavement be removed and turned into pervious area so that the water can flow down. So we're talking about a net 50 square foot addition of impervious, significantly less than 1%, almost a 0.5% on an 8,000 square foot lot to give a resident a usable outdoor storage area. This is a resident of your community who's come back, spent a very significant amount of money to get to this point, and in good faith has compromised on the size, added landscaping, fully engineered the site, and made what I believe to be a reasonable accommodation and a movement towards the concern. I would hope that you could find a spot to approve. That this is an entirely reasonable proposal, not a crazy ask.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve it at 150 square feet with the 4 by 25 give back on the driveway.
And I could second.
Is that with additional driveway other than what you already offered to take?
Just it's on the plans, the 4 by 25. So we have 6 eligibles tonight, so we will need 4 affirmative for an approval.
So this, so. Go ahead. So it's a motion, it was a motion to approve at 150 feet with 100 square foot of the give back from the impervious to pervious. You have a question?
Yes, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
We are 6. What about a 3-3 tie?
Right. So
That's what I said. We would need 4 in favor for an approval tonight.
That's what he said. So a 3-3 tie is a denial.
Okay, that was my question.
Do you want to vote or come back?
I think that's more than.
What's that?
I interrupted rudely and gave him the option of coming back, but he would like to go to a vote.
Okay, and just so you understand, Mr. Skolnick's a very seasoned and excellent attorney, and he will explain to you that under the doctrines of res judicata and collateral estoppel, if you were denied on the application, if you, just as an example, came back and said, well, instead of 150 square feet, I'm going to make it 147 square feet, under the doctrines of res judicata and collateral estoppel, you would likely be foreclosed from coming back because it wouldn't be considered a significant enough of a change to allow the board to consider something different. Do you understand that?
You can make a significant change, but the board gets to decide whether it's significant enough for them to hear it again. Okay, yeah, I think you get
What's
it.
the,
Okay.
We don't know, that's the
Okay,
thing, we don't know
all
in
right, so-
advance.
Okay, so there was a motion and a second to approve at 150 square feet with 100 square foot of the impervious skid.
Chandra Harjani,
Yes.
Beth Zoll,
Yes.
Neil Mino Roberts,
Yes.
David Bradford,
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield,
No.
Jessica Glad,
No.
Congratulations.
skin your teeth.
Thank you for your time.
thank you so much.
Okay, next up, we have calendar 4013-24, 2 Woodfield Drive. The applicants are Elliot and Aaron DeSanto.
I swear, who's ever going to speak, just raise your right hand, please. Do you swear from testimony you're about to give this proceeding to be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Your name is for the record.
Speaking tonight. Good evening to the board. Nice to see everyone. I'm Erin DeSanto. This is my husband, Elliot. We moved to Short Hills almost 4 years ago from the city. We're first-time homeowners. We hope this to be our last home. We moved here with 2 kids. We now have 3 kids. And we're finding that the sizing of our house is not necessarily working for our family. We have 2 bedrooms on the second floor. So we have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old on the second floor. We have a 2-year-old on the first floor in what used to be my home office, and we're on the first floor. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of little footsteps up and down the stairs, which you might say we knew that when we moved in. But we learned that very quickly on the second week of living there, that maybe this perhaps wouldn't work for us. So we have hired Steve here, who we've been working closely with. We're hoping to change the design of our house to expand and have more bedrooms upstairs.
Okay, my name is Stephen Hockstein. First name Steven, last name Hockstein. I am a principal of AHM Architects, 281 Main Street in Melbourne, New Jersey.
He's one,
Yeah,
right? You were
yeah.
281 Main Street, Melbourne, New Jersey. And I am, my license is active and current in New Jersey.
Your qualifications are
Thank you.
accepted.
So as Erin explained, the house that they are in now, if I can show you the floor plan, these are the plans that you have. There's 2 bedrooms on the first floor, and currently there's 2 little bedrooms on the second floor, which you can see on A3 on the right side. So what we were hired to do is to change the house so that we have 4 bedrooms on the second floor. And because of COVID and all the things that are happening now, the first floor, one of the bedrooms will be used as an office, and the other bedroom will be used as a guest room and also a second office for when they're both working at home. Property, it's an interesting property. It's a compliant lot, but the thing is, the house that's there now is, if you look on the site plan, the house is, it's a corner lot, so there's 2 fronts, but the house is skewed to the left. And the current house, even as a 1-story, part of the house is non-conforming for side setback. And what we're doing is we just want to vertically go above what's there. We're not going any closer to the property line. We're just going higher. But because in this zone, as you go higher, you actually have to go further in. So the setback requirement for a second floor would be 25 feet. We're only at 14.1 on one side and 15.3 in the front. So we're just asking for two variances. We're asking for a vertical intensification of the side yard on the left side. And then we want to put a portico in the front, and there's a slight encroachment on the front yard setback. Everything else is compliant on what we're asking for. But obviously, we're not moving the house. We kind of have a little bit of a hardship that just going above what's there now, we're not moving the house. And we actually studied the option of doing an asymmetrical house, and it just didn't look nice. The existing house that's there now, if you look on your A4, I don't know, it kind of looks like a Pizza Hut. I hate to say it. But so what our goal is to take this second floor off. And sorry.
That's all I'm gonna see now when I look at my house.
And so what we're proposing to do is put a second floor on. Some of the things that we did to mitigate the side yard encroachment is we did a hip roof so that the slope of the roof on the left side, where we are asking for the variance, we sloped it back. We didn't put a gable on that side. So the height will be less intense on the left side neighbor. Additionally, the house that's on the left side that's most affected, their driveway is on that side of the house, and also the garage is on that side of the house. And I measured it, and from their property line to the actual garage next door, it's 37 feet. So in total, we're 42 feet from the building that's there now. And that side of their house doesn't have any windows on the garage. So it's really, we're not really hurting them. And then the other thing which is important to know is the left side neighbor is 5 feet, the property is 5 feet higher than their house. So the fact that they're higher even makes the height of their home less of an issue, because
When you say higher, you're talking about elevation?
I'm sorry, the ground is 5 feet higher on number 10, which is to the left of them. So the fact that they're going vertically is less imposing on them, because their house is already 5 feet higher than number 2, which is where we're asking for the addition. We also feel that some of the things that we're doing is we're modernizing the house. We're making it better for the housing stock in Milburn. We're having 4 bedrooms on the second floor. And as Aaron said, having 3 kids and having 2 bedrooms on the first floor and 2 bedrooms on the second floor really doesn't work in a modern house today. We also feel that what we're doing is in scale with the neighborhood. We're not asking for a huge house. We actually think it's going to improve the curb appeal of the house. And let me think what else I want to say. That's really what I want to say is we feel that the bulk requirements of everything else were compliant.
Any questions from board members?
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
you said that the neighbor's garage, is that facing garage?
No, it's actually the garage is in the back of the next door neighbor's house. So you're just driving past the house and coming around and entering it from the back. So the house, looking from the front, the house to the left side, they have a 1-story garage that you just drive by and come around into the back.
No, so it's a 1-story garage. They don't have any rooms on top.
No,
So it's 14 feet from your property line from your.
it's almost 15. It's like
So
14,
15 and
So-
then 37, so it's almost 50 plus.
Right.
Feet.
between the
From
buildings.
the garage to your building.
Correct. So there's a lot of air and open space between the buildings.
Turning to A7, your sheet, did you do that? It shows the left side of the building. Just the one that's closest to the side that.
And by the way, this is intentionally, we minimized the windows facing the neighbors, so they maintain privacy to the left side neighbor. That's why we only had 1 window there. We really emphasized the front and the back.
have you given, I mean, you eventually put a hip roof in there and give it less of a massing.
Absolutely, we sloped it back so that it wouldn't be as imposing on the neighbor.
Is there any, maybe break between the first and second floor, like a, kind of a?
There's a break in material, the lower levels,
Yeah, what is that?
the lower level is brick, and then we're gonna do siding above it, just to
Okay,
give it,
so that's a little better, all right.
yes. We're actually considering taking the brick off and putting stone on, that's still.
Okay. But it'd still be a different.
It's not one
because it
continuous,
creates that-
yes, it's not gonna look like a massive big
Yeah.
piece. And there's gonna be trim and nice things as we reside the house and put new windows in. I don't know if this is relevant or not, but we are also making an addition on the back of the house, but everything that we're doing there is compliant. We're putting a covered porch and a little family room addition.
So there was a second variance, which is the pool.
Yes, we're doing a front portico.
Just,
This little portico it sticks out into the front yard setback,
which you're not gonna need it.
which, just to give you the number,
It's not.
Because at the time that you applied for this, they had taken that out of the ordinance. And since the time that we did the denial letter, they put it back in. So the portico will not need a variance.
Okay.
It's just,
I take it back, we need one variance.
yeah, I just,
So the front yard setback is now gone.
Yes, we're just asking for the left side. If I wait long enough, maybe that one will be done too, but.
Any other questions from board members? Anyone in the audience who has any questions on this? Any comments from the audience? Board members, what do you think?
I will start. It did look like a Pizza Hut. I know we're gonna have that. in
Sorry.
I'm very familiar with the area. I grew up here and I know that my best friend lives around the corner, so I know that house really well. I am supportive of the application. My only issue would have been if there was a massing thing on the left-hand side, and if the neighbors from the left-hand side came up and said something, then I would, take another look at it. But I think it would definitely add to the neighborhood, just based on what the other houses are from the other side. So I'm for this application.
I would be supportive as well, and that was my question in terms of massing, as Joe just mentioned, that it's far away from the neighbor's property, and it's also one-story garage, so it's not going to obstruct any vision into any of the rooms on the second floor, so I would be supportive as well.
I went to the property and all the testimony you gave, I noted all the same things. Changing the topography, the fact that the driveway was next door, the fact that the garage there's a blank wall. I think, is it brick? I think
It's brick.
Too.
Correct.
And by the way, your dog makes a lot of noise when you.
I know. Oh my God, your voice smells like the dog barks.
So
Oh
it's
my God.
fine, you know. I rang the doorbell, the dog barked a lot. No, since someone came, I figured you weren't home.
Yeah, we were not, but yeah, Bowser protects the kids.
I'll just add that, first of all, I did not see the Pizza Hut when I was looking at the house in person, more Pizza Hut on the plan. But I do think that there is a hardship here. You're just intensifying the pre-existing non-conforming setback. So I like that this application is not over intensifying anything. It's not asking for FAR. It's not, we're not trying to get more square footage. We're not, trying to overbuild, on the property. I can support the application. Would someone like to make a motion?
I would move to approve application as set forth by the.
I can second.
Shadru Varjani,
Yes.
Beth Zoll,
Yes.
Neil Mino Roberts.
Yes.
David Bradford.
Yes.
Joseph Caulfield.
Yes.
Jessica Black.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're all welcome to pizza at 2 Woodfield Drive.
When I started drawing, I was wondering what that roof was.
I never noticed that till now, but thank you so much. Yeah. We'll start our
But
business.
when you put it there, I was like, oh, wow.
Thank you very much. I know.
The basic idea was Reading, Pennsylvania.
Did you?
Okay, last up, we have calendar 4022-24. The property location is 21 Great Oak Drive. And the applicant is Zhao NG.
Hello, dear members of board.
Yeah, we don't want to-
Oh, okay.
Did you want to swear us in first?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Do you swear from testimony you're about to give in this proceeding to be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Your names for the record.
Jonathan Joe, CHOU.
Keith Machine. Dana Naparano, NAPURANO. And I'm the architect, so I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, can I have your qualifications, please?
I hold a bachelor's of architecture from NJIT, and I'm also NCARB certified. I have a license from the state of New Jersey since 2013, and it's in good standing. And I've also been sworn in as an expert before other boards in the area, including the Chathams, Madison, Summit, and New Providence.
Qualifications have been accepted.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Dear member of the board, my name is Jonathan. This is my wife. We moved to Short Hills in 2022 from Jersey City in order for our daughter to attend the school in the areas. We came at a time when the housing inventory was extremely low, but we were fortunate to have found our house, which we really like. A lot of things about it, especially its proximity to everything. We love this area, and we plan to stay here longer term. But after we moved into the house, we noted a few issues with the house that we hope to fix, both as necessity and to add value. First of all of our bedrooms are on the second floor. This presents an issue for my in-laws who are staying with us, and they are both close to their 80s, and they have a lot of trouble climbing the stairs every day. So one of the main reasons that we are building for this project is to add an in-law suite on the first floor. Second, the laundry room in our house is in the basement. So my wife has to carry loads of laundry up and down the stairs, 2 flights of stairs actually on a daily basis. She has lower back pain and also shoulder impingement. So this daily routine causes a lot of inconvenience and pain for her. So for us, it's critical for us to add a laundry room to the second floor. Third, our current house has a very narrow entryway. It doesn't have a mudroom. So we hope as part of this project to add a mudroom. Fourth, our house has very limited storage and closet spaces, and the expansion will greatly improve the situation. Finally, because the laundry room, the place that we're currently envisioning for our laundry room will take away one of the bedrooms on the second floor, we would hope to add a new bedroom on top of the garage, as well as the newly added in-law suite on the first floor to complete the project. So with that, I'll turn over to Dana to share the details of our project.
So as they mentioned, they engaged us to design their project located at 21 Great Oak Drive, identified as block 1605, lot 14. The house is a 2-story colonial style home built in 1948, and there's a 1-story attached garage. The lot area is 14,805, where 14,500 is required. The property has a lot width of 93.58 feet, measured at the required setback, and then it tapers inward towards the back of the property line. There's a line of tall vegetation that starts about halfway up the driveway and runs about the length of the existing house. The driveway is actually located along the right side property line and goes around into a parking area for the rear entry garage. This is the V1 drawing. In the aerial photograph that I provided and in the Google Street View, you can see that the neighbor's driveway actually runs right along their driveway, sharing this property line. So with regard to the house itself, as they mentioned, they are looking to add onto the first floor to create a modest in-law suite and a mudroom. So right now we have at the right side of the house, the existing 2-car garage with a front entrance to come into a small vestibule and then access from the garage directly into the house. We're not looking to change that access. We're just closing up that front door and basically moving it forward. So when we look at the proposed plan on V2, we've got that mudroom door slid forward, set back a little bit from the main wall of the front facade, so we don't have confusion about which door is the front door. We have a small mudroom that has space for a coat closet and the massive amount of shoes and book bags that are currently stored right in this little corner here as you walk in the front door. The bedroom we feel is a very modest size and it has an ensuite bathroom and a small closet. I should note that on the first floor, the line that you see going across the plan, that's actually the building envelope. So we are stepping in the addition so that it does comply with all of the required setbacks. So it actually steps in from the edge of the existing garage by 4 inches. At the second floor level, they currently have what is their smallest bedroom at the back right corner of the house. So that's about 11 by 11. All the other bedrooms are pretty good size. So what we're doing with the proposed project is creating a hallway to access a new primary suite over top of the existing garage and the proposed first floor addition. That allows us to add some storage closets for that much needed storage upstairs and a modest sized laundry room so that we don't have to go all the way downstairs into the basement. Although I didn't include a basement plan, I can tell you with this existing house, it was added on, I'm guessing a couple times over the years, but there's only basement below the living room, dining room, kitchen, and center. So their laundry is currently down the stairs, around the stairs, and all the way in the back corner of the house, in the unfinished part of the basement. So we're moving the laundry upstairs, creating that hallway, and then adding a primary suite that gives some space for a bedroom about the same size, consistent with the other 3 bedrooms that remain. A bathroom that can accommodate a tub, which was one of the things that they were not able to get in the current master bathroom that's there now. And a walk-in closet slightly bigger than the one they have now. One of the things we paid close attention to as well on the second floor is maintaining those required setbacks to the second floor of the addition, because as you know, the height is different. Once we're above 18 feet, it changes the setback. So the second floor actually does comply with the required setback to the portion of the building over 18 feet. We are also making an effort to step this area in because one of their criteria was to maintain that side-facing window in their daughter's room, just to make sure she still gets good light in there. Another thing we're doing is setting the addition in on the second floor from all sides. So that's not only to comply with the setback, but it's also to reduce the massing when we're looking at it from the outside. Hold on for a second. So when we look at it from the exterior, you're seeing the existing elevation up top on the before sheet. There's no change at all to the house from basically the main facade going across to the left. The only change we're really making is replacing the roof with a new roof because it's wood shingle now and we're switching the material. We have the 1-story portion of the garage here with the current vestibule entry. We're pulling that forward so we still have the door tucked in the corner here. We've made an effort here with the design for the portion of the 1-story addition that projects forward of the main facade to have that be a low roof line. So we're doing that on purpose so that we're not overpowering the main facade of the house. The front wall of this